Hey guys, if you guys want to watch just the match portion of the this video or of this locals challenge, I'll have a little I button on this side or this side that says announcer battles. So if you guys aren't interested in the deck profile or the introduction, just simply click there and it'll just take you straight to that video where you just see the deck in action rather than see the deck profile. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. What's up, guys? Back to you guys for World Martial Art Tournament month again. This time it's going to be 4 out of 4 with the announcer leader. I think since I have a mission to play all of the leaders in the game, I have to play at least Hercule. So I'm going to extend this month to 5 out of 5 because there is 5 World Martial Art leaders. So I will be playing Hercule for the next week. I know that I was only going to play 4 out of the 4, but why stop at 4 when I can just play at 5? So I will be playing Hercule for the next locals challenge, and so let's go into let's go into this video. But my thoughts on announcer. Well, first let me read you guys what announcer does. It treats all world martial art in all areas as if they have no specified cost. So that means announcer can play like pretty much all range of different world martial arts. The only exception is that you can't play certain green battle cards from the set, from the World Martial Arts set, because they require that you have a green World Martial Art leader, and then some of them require that you have a yellow World Martial Art leader. So there's a lot of requirements for those kind of cards. So announcer makes it so that you can play the other more generic, slightly more generic color costs of other World Martial Art Tournament cards. So his other effect is that you also cannot include non-World Martial Art battle cards in your deck. So you can't play any other like super combos in this deck, so you have to rely on World Martial Art stuff. There's just so many things that you have to include in this leader that, I mean, exclude out of this leader. But that's fine. A lot of the World Martial Art cards I'm a huge fan of anyways, and it deals with a lot of situations except for cards with barrier. But with announcer, you never really want to go be the most energy efficient leader. You want to be the most out-resourced in terms of card advantage. So a lot of leaders nowadays have the ability to energy manipulate, or just have like more energy to work with due to Unyielding Trunks, Sensu Bean, and having the ability to untap energy, and that's namely in the form of blue leaders. But announcer is a black leader, and I think announcer is one of those leaders that can go toe to toe with being the best black leader with Shenron. So Shenron just does it differently. I personally don't like the fact that you can't attack with your leader, but some people like the fact that Shenron can revive a battle card really early to where you don't have to spend any energy, so that could be very energy efficient in a way. But with the release of the feature rares like what is it, Borgos and Whis, that stops energy untapping, I feel as if you want to play cards that are more out-resourcey in terms of card advantage rather than energy manipulation. So Soul Striker will probably have to take a back seat now just because of Borgos and Whis being able to punish players for untapping the energy on their turn, except for non-awakening abilities, or awakening abilities. So yeah, so moving forward, I think announcer will definitely have a boost coming into the new format, just because he has the ability to, his other abilities that once per turn when you play a World Martial Art leader or World Martial Art battle card, you draw a card. So a lot of the World Martial Art cards are basically one cost, so you can be very energy efficient, being able to play like really nifty one drops in this deck. So I'll go over in the deck profile. It's really good in that sense. And then his other ability is basically if you awaken him, you untap 2 energy. His backside says it's the same thing, where it treats all World Martial Arts as if they have no specified cost. And then when it attacks, it draws a card, just a generic 15k. But his other ability is only once per game. A lot of people think that you can just use that as many times as you want. No, it's only once per game. You choose up to two World Martial Art. I think it's up to 2, yeah. World Martial Art, or 2 of your battle cards, yeah, with the World Martial Art in it. And they both get +5 power for the duration of the turn. So he can really come in clutch when you're trying to go for game with this leader. So we're gonna go into the deck profile and see what you guys think. But I really like this leader just because there are little tricks you can do with it that that you would have to play as as the leader to know what you to know that advantage that you can get from playing announcer. So let's go into deck profile. So the first and foremost of this deck is basically one of my favorites out of the World Martial Arts set, is the most Master Roshi and the Shen combo. I don't think you can get away with not playing this in your announcer deck, just because they're yellow. Yeah, they're yellow, so I can play like cards like Flying Nimbus in here to make sure that I can survive against Storm and any deck that just swarms a lot. So I really feel as if playing these cards help you see other parts of your deck, and on top of that, announcer lets you draw a card whenever you play any World Martial Art card. So these really synergize with the announcer leaders, because every time you play them, you not only draw for their abilities, but you're also drawing for his ability. So that's every turn. So he can function really well on Awaken every turn. So that's really handy for him. So yeah, so I play 4 of these. And then I play, for the super combos, I play the 4 Goku. Same reason that he's a yellow battle card. So in the rare situations where I have Flying Nimbus but no other yellow card, I definitely need something to discard so that I could stop the attacks. So yeah, that's why I play the 4 future martial art super combo Son Goku. So that's kind of important. I think that's all for my yellow. So that's, well, except for the Flying Nimbuses, which I'll go into. So the only variant you can do with the only difference in variants between announcer leaders between all deck lists is their extra cards, and then maybe their choice of battle cards. But most of the time it's just their extra cards. So of course you have to play Senzu Bean. There's no need to say much about it. It just helps you survive as a leader that doesn't have really good defense capabilities. So you need to be able to survive until the next turn to gain more advantage to out-resource it. And then of course Flying Nimbus. Not much to say about Flying Nimbus. You just need to be able to have another turn. And then the defining thing about this deck is probably the Battering Laser. I just think if you're playing, well, there's cards in my deck that lets me to capture the victory, but I need the attacks to go through, so I play 1 Battering Laser. I might even bump it up to 2, but that depends on the deck space, and I find that the deck space is very minimal in this deck, just because you're only allowed to have 50. So I even had to cut out so many other cards just because I needed to play other cards. So, and then the other card I play is Power Burst. This is a sparking card, so oftentimes when you're trying to go for game, you sometimes fail, and then you leave yourself tapped out, or you just have less defensive capabilities. You can play this and then grab the announcer cards back to your hand, because he retrieves 1 cost black battle card. So that synergizes with the announcer cards, which I should show you right here. I guess I might as well just show you. So the play-by-play, yeah, the play-by-play and the Ever Curious. These are all 1 cost black battle cards, and then of course with Power Burst you are able to retrieve them on your opponent's turn when you negate an attack. So you have 2 negates basically if you combine it with the play-by-play. A neat trick with announcer is that even when on your opponent's turn, when you play a battle card, such as with negating, so if you negate an attack and you bring this guy on board, you're able to draw a card with the announcer leader. So it gives you sort of like a +2 every turn in a way. So if you negate an attack, if you choose to keep 1 card in your hand, and which is the negator. So nowadays it's been a little bit unpopular to play negates from your hand in the form of a battle card, just because of Black Mass Saiyan, but that's fine. Sometimes you can play around it. So you'll definitely be able to utilize these guys well in terms of resource and negating. So really good defense capabilities in this deck, I think, just with these main deck cards. So now we're going to go into the offense strategy. So I really like this card in Announcer, and it's Trading Blows Son Goku. This is a card where if you play him, and your opponent has 5 or more cards, or yeah, 5 or more cards, they have to discard 1. But if you combine that with Announcer, you're basically plussing, and then you're subtracting from your opponent. So this probably is probably good in the Storm matchup because if you destroy their components out of their hand, you lessen the chance that they'll use it to kill you or set up to kill you. So he's really useful because he's also a 5k stat, so you can attack and then a combo to 10k on Awakened Leaders. So I really like this card when I start the game, just because I can just limit their hand, especially when you're playing against a leader that doesn't gain advantage when they are unawakened. So a lot of the old leaders, especially, where they gain advantage from being awakened and then attacking with it, versus unawakened. Yeah, so if you play this on them, then they're devastated because they can't gain advantage. And he doesn't actually have to attack to gain advantage. So you can just play like U7 Frieza style, where you never have to attack with the leader that much, and you can just limit their hand size until you're able to build enough energy to play really threatening battle cards to kill them in one shot, or multiple shots. And to help me awaken, I play 2 Awakening Talent Pan. I think since she's blue, she definitely helps me play the Sensu Beans from my hand. So I needed something to help me awaken, which was a blue battle card, and I also needed something that could help me play Sensu Beans. So this was the choice. And then plus she goes back to your hand at the end of the turn, which is really nice for comboing for defense. And then same concept as the play-by-play. When you play them on your opponent's turn and you negate their attack, you get to draw a card with the Announcer Leader. So I only play 2. I feel like the Power Burst was already enough to fetch 2 negates, because he's a negate itself, and then you can fetch the play-by-play from the discard or the warp. You'll never have a warp unless they Black Massey you, which is cool, anyway, which is fine with me anyways. But I think that's enough for negate. So basically I have 1, 2, 3, and then you count this as another one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the Nimbus, which is 12. That's 12 negates already, and I think that's just quite enough for the matchups that you need to survive. That's how you're able to survive against Storm, I believe. Alright, so for the other offensive, you definitely need to be able to flood the board with the fewest amount of energy possible, and you have the Goku U combo. Not only are you able to flood the board with 220Ks, because only for the turn and when they bring it out, but you also get rid of cards from your opponent's battle area, so that you can have board control again. When I mean board control, I mean you have more battle cards than your opponent does. That's what I mean by board control. And not only more battle cards, but battle cards that are threatening, which means they're 15k or more. So with this one, they're both 20k when they come out, and then this guy has critical, and you have a Goku who has a double strike. So very useful in that regard. And they're blue cards, so they can turn on your Sensu Bean if you need to charge them early. So really useful for that regard. If you keep Goku out there and they kill Oob, you can just simply play another Oob from your hand in the event that you don't have Goku, and then Oob will still trigger. So you don't have to play Oob from Goku's ability to get Oob's ability to go off. All you have to do is, if he sticks on the board next turn, you can play Oob on, and then Oob will just trigger the ability to shuffle 2 away. And on top of that, since they're all World Martial Art, again, you get to draw a card. So you can build offense, you can build board, and then draw a card on top of that. So again, this leader doesn't really energy manipulate as much. It deals with being able to be efficient on energy rather than manipulate energy. So those are the heavy hitters, and then the other heavy hitters, of course, I think every announcer deck plays this. You play the Goku and the Vegeta combo. These are my win cons. I think I stole a game, or I think I won a game against Storm because I had 2 triple strikers that had 2 35Ks when they were both on the board. So it's really nice to have 2 35Ks on the board because it's hard to get over without removal. So, and they're all the nice thing about them is that they're both 5K combo shields. So that's pretty decent. Vegeta makes it so that they can't use blockers. That's another nifty thing about them. So if you're trying to play around barrier blockers, Vegeta makes it so that they can't activate the blocker combo. So really cool. And of course, because they require 2 reds, that gets bypassed by playing Announcer. So that's why you play this together. You play this combo more frequently in this leader than any other World Martial leader, just because red is kind of a hard color to tech in with the other world martial arts. So yeah, I only played 3 and 3. Again, I don't need 4 and 4. It's not that necessary. You'll draw it because you'll draw so much in this deck. And of course, my favorite card in this set, which is the Goku and Oop combo, Seeds of the Future. Of course, you want to steal games with this, and then there was a game where against the last guy, which I lost. I got second place, by the way, where I should have attacked last turn with him to get him down to 1, and then next turn play him and kill him. But I took the probability chance, which was, I don't know if, with me, I have like bad probability, but I played this guy on the next turn and he had 4 life, and then I attacked twice with him, and then my opponent, with only 2 cards left in his hand, had 2 negates, so he negated and negated, and I was like, wow. So then he had 1 life left and I couldn't kill him with that 1 life out because it requires me to play 6 energy to play this guy. So I need to play more where I can increase my probability of winning by attacking with triple strike and getting him down to 1. And then when I play this guy on turn 6 or turn 7, depending on what was the game situation, I can just play him and then outright win, burden you for 1 damage, regardless if they have him negate or not. So I definitely misplayed against my friend Raymond on the last round. He was playing androids without cell chain, but he made me believe that he had the cell chain, which is a good part of the game, where deck building tricks people into thinking they have it, which they don't. So I think that's all for the announcer deck. I really hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. It's not much different than most announcer deck, but here you can see the reason why I play certain cards over the other. So yeah, next video I'll show you the matchups, or previous video. Peace out, guys.